started. My name is Susan McCoy, and I have the pleasure of getting to introduce you to National Sales Director Heidi Goelzer. Heidi is from, well, she'll tell you where she's originally from and all that, but I know right now she lives in Florida. I know right now she's across the hall from me. And I am so excited to introduce you to her. She has been a dear friend of mine for, we just calculated it up, about 15 years. And we got to know each other when we were both actually featured in the Applause magazine, which I have to show you guys these pictures because my daughter was just home. She has like a little split in her day. And I showed her these pictures and she's like, that's you guys? So you guys, check these out. Oopsie. Sorry. I'm on an iPad, which is not my normal jam, so I don't even know where it's at. But it's pretty impressive, let me tell you. We kind of had the same hairstyle.
We did.
You know, just a blonde and a brunette. So what I want you to know about Heidi is you're going to get to hear from her heart. You're going to get to hear her soul. You're going to get to hear just everything that God has anointed her to share with you today. We got to have her in the director meeting this morning, and wow, I don't even know, Heidi, what to say. It was just like, I think it was Jennifer Baus said, completely anointed. And you're going to get to hear just some of the best training you've ever had. Heidi, I'm just going to let you take it away. I know we just have an hour here and we are recording this. So if you know a red jacket on your team that couldn't be on, we can get her the recording a little later.
Okay, well, thank you so much, you guys. I'm so excited to be here this afternoon. Congratulations for everyone who has earned it. Did you guys know that as a woman in your red jacket with 3 or more active team members, that you are in the top 9% of this company? Do you understand that? You're in the top 9%. And so I'm going to just, reiterate that. You are in the top 9% of a multi-billion-dollar international 58-year-old debt-free family-owned company. Like, that is a pretty big deal. So can you all please just give yourselves a round of applause for being in the top 9% of this amazing company? That is fantastic. And don't you guys love that we all started with a starter kit? Is anybody excited about that? Like, we started with a starter kit, right? None of the sales directors on here came into Mary Kay and management. I see Amy is on here, Amy Duncan. She and Susan and I got to have lunch together, and we were all just telling our stories. And there was like, oh my goodness, Amy's like, well, my kids were like little. My kids were only so many months apart, and my baby never slept. So I remember my first career conference, I was kind of like, I don't even know what was going on. And Susan talked about how she called in sick at her job to go to her second career conference because she didn't want to miss it, being in her red jacket, you guys. So we all have these stories. We all have our starting stories. And that's what I absolutely love. And so I hope today that with the few minutes that we have on together, that I can give you guys hope. And so I'm going to tell you part of my story. And if you're coming tonight, this is the consultant story. Okay, this is not the same story that I tell at a guest event, because they don't need to hear all of the, fun details about everything. But I think that we do as consultants. And so God willing, I'm going to give you some training and some inspiration as I tell you this story. But the first part that I want to tell you is, you guys, I was recruited by a DIQ. I was recruited by a woman who was in DIQ. And what I really learned from this experience in my life is that a goal with a deadline changes lives. A goal with a deadline changes lives. So you're going to hear the first part of my story before I was recruited tonight. But you guys, the reason that I was recruited is because this woman by the name of Ann Denoyer, she had a goal with a deadline. Because I did not look like someone who would be great in Mary Kay. When she met me, I washed my face with zest, I wore blue mascara, and I was barely showering except on Sundays, okay? And so I wasn't someone that you would think, wow, she'll be great. But what I was curious. When we were having a conversation, I was genuinely impressed that she had earned the use of a free car in Mary Kay. I wanted to know more. And when I left her, we met at a wedding, and she lived in Florida and I lived in Louisiana. And I went back to Louisiana. She went back to Florida from this wedding. And you guys, she sent me information in the mail. She followed up with me because she was in DIQ. She was in DIQ. And this is what I know is that when we have a goal with a deadline, we will talk to people that we normally wouldn't talk to because we want to finish something up. And in the process, lives are changed. Well, right now it is double credit month. And we already had this conversation with the sales directors that you guys not only do your sales count double for your courts of sales, the Princess Court and the National Court, they also, everything you sell in an order counts double for your unit. And I know that you guys are all team players because you're on this Zoom today. But you guys, I think most importantly, it's your team building. It's your team building that counts double credit. And if you do recruit 6 people this month and they get qualified by the end of December, that is 12 personal qualifieds for the National Court of Sharing. You are half done if you decide to max out this month. But you see, it's not simply about maxing it out. It's about finishing. It's about finishing. You see, what I found in my life is that quitting can become a habit. Quitting can become a habit, but finishing can also become a habit. And so when you finish the goal, and you guys, I don't care if you have 0 personal team members in right now, I don't care. There are 10 days left in the month. And you can absolutely have 6 personal agreements in by the end of the day for no better reason than just simply to max it out. Like your reason doesn't have to be noble. Who's excited that you don't have a noble cause? It doesn't have to be noble. It can just be because it's like, well, shoot, I want to give myself the shot. I want to have a shot of doing the National Court of Sharing. So I'm going to give myself the best shot ever and have 6 personal agreements in by the end of this month. Okay, guys, I'm going to record myself. I forgot because sometimes what you say can be good. So remember that. It's very easy to record yourself. And if it's not good, you can just delete it. So I'm excited about that. Okay. So I want you to hear my heart on this. And it doesn't have to be a perfect 6 new agreements in. It doesn't have to be a perfect 6. Sometimes we don't recruit because we think, I don't know what she's going to do with it. I don't know if she's going to be any good. I don't know if she's just signing to get her products at half price. You guys, I want to tell you something. 6 agreements in the computer gives you a better shot of somebody doing something than 0 agreements in the computer. Okay? 6 is better than 0. 6 is better than 0. Okay. So I think we need to stop making excuses about why we're not recruiting and just go ask. Okay. So I was recruited by a DIQ and I'm going to tell the rest of that story tonight, but you guys, who can guess how much my first party was? Type in the chat how much you think I sold at my first party. Let me see. What do you guys think? 0? Oh, that's not a lot of faith in me. Thank you very much, Esther. Okay, Mary gave me at least 100. That's awesome. Good. Anybody else have any guesses on here? 40. Why do you guys not think I was a superstar? Seriously. Well, you're right. Okay, I was not a superstar when we started. It was better than 0, worse than 100. I sold $7 at my first party, you guys, $7. And it wasn't, yeah, Esther's excited because it was closest to her 0. Okay, it wasn't because they didn't have money. They did. They had money. The reason I didn't sell anything, you guys, is because I didn't ask. I was too scared. I just followed the pages of the old-fashioned flip chart and I ran out of the house and to get away because I was scared to ask them if they wanted anything. And the way I sold $7 is someone literally chased me to my car and asked me if she could buy a lip gloss. And it was a pink pearl lip gloss. If anybody was in Mary Kay back in the day, that was $7. But the worst part about this story was, you guys, it wasn't just a first party that was bad. It took me 10 parties to sell $100. 10 parties. Is anybody excited that I was really bad to start with? You should all be raising your hand. This should be very exciting to you, okay? Because if a person who is a national sales director today can start out so badly, that means everybody has a chance. And that's what I love about this. And you know, as I started my business, I wanted to be in my red jacket so badly. Does anybody remember before you were in red? Before you were in red, what made you want to be in your red jacket? Why don't you type in the chat? What made you want to be in your red jacket? What was the reason that you were like, oh, I want to be in that red jacket? I would love to hear those thoughts. Even if you're a sales director, what made you want to be in a red jacket? The first sign or symbol of leadership. Yes, people knew if you're wearing a red jacket that you did something with someone else. I love that, Gentry. I did not have to decide what to wear to a meeting. Anybody else? Like, seriously, I was so sick of wearing the same thing. It was the next step. Yeah, that was my kind of thing too. It's like, well, that's the next step to go. To be in red at seminar, right, you guys? To be in red at the next event, to maybe have different kinds of training, to change your confidence. Tired of not being in it when you knew you could be. I love that. Didn't need to know what, didn't have to worry about what to wear. Okay, I love that, you guys. I love it. And so I wanted to be in that red jacket for all of those reasons that you said. I didn't want to wear the same thing to success night every week without having a red jacket. I wanted that leadership. It was the next step. Well, you guys, I remember my first consultant. I wanted my red jacket so bad that my first consultant, I actually bought her starter kit. Did you all know you're not supposed to do that? You're not supposed to buy somebody else's starter kit. Yeah, that's not really a good idea. But I just knew that she was going to be so great at Mary Kay. I just knew it, that if she could just do Mary Kay, if she could just get into it, even though she didn't have the money to buy the starter kit, it would save her life. That was my thought process. I never forget her name. Her name is Valerie, and that was 24 years ago. 24 years ago. Valerie, you guys, never ever did anything with Mary Kay. Surprise, surprise, right? Because if you have to buy somebody's starter kit, you're going to have to do all their work for them. And so I learned a valuable lesson that day. And I want you to hear my heart on this, okay? There is a difference, you guys, between broke and poor. There's a difference between broke and poor. Now, they both don't have money, but it is a mind, it has to do with the brain. I have been broke in my life. I had to borrow the $100 from my mom to get started. Okay, I was broke, but that was a temporary state. I believe that poor is a state of mind. Okay, so Mary Kay can support and be an opportunity for women who are broke, but it cannot be an opportunity for women who are poor. So just think about that when you're recruiting. If a person doesn't have any money, is she willing to figure out how to get it and how to figure it out? This is an opportunity that can support people who are broke, but not people who are poor. Okay. And so then you guys, so Valerie was my first team member, but she never placed an order. So I wasn't a senior consultant, but I did finally get into my red jacket 8 months after joining Mary Kay. And it was because one of you said we were going to career conference, and they told me that I could have my red jacket by career conference and I wouldn't have to worry about what to wear. Okay. And so I just brought them to success night. I never recruited anybody by myself with my first 3 people. I brought them to my success night and I hoped my director would recruit them. And so she did. She recruited 3 of my guests over the 8 months that we became consultants. And so I went to that career conference. And you guys, I believe with all my heart that events change lives. And I believe they can be virtual events like you're on right now, or it can be an event that a person comes to in person, but events change lives. And at that event, at that career conference, you guys, I sat in the back in my red jacket that was too big for me and my penny loafer shoes that were not very cute. And I cried the entire time. Because what I saw walking across that stage, you guys, were women of all different sizes, all different shapes, all different ethnicities, all different educational backgrounds. And they were picking up the keys to cars and they were wearing director suits. And you know what, you guys, some of them weren't even that cute. Can anybody relate to that? You're like, oh, really? She's successful in Mary Kay? Because in our heads, we think that success looks a certain way, don't we? And when we're shown somebody who looks different than what our brain thinks, it totally creates a new thought. And so you guys, I came back from that career conference. Okay, how many months did it take me to get into my red jacket? What did I just tell you? How many months was that? 8 months. Okay, 8 months. And who recruited all of those people for me? My sales director. It was not Heidi, okay? But you guys, I came home from that career conference on fire. And this was so exciting because what had changed? Was there a $30 e-start? Absolutely not. Was there a brand new product? Absolutely not. Was there a brand new video of a hotshot national $1 million sales director that I could show to my recruits? No, you guys, none of that. The only thing that changed were the 6 inches between my ears. That's the only thing that changed. And I came home from career conference, and that was the very last weekend in March. And by the 7th of April, I had 4 new team members in the computer. 4 new team members. 10 days after returning from that event, I had 4 new team members. I had signed up my 3 sisters and my best customer. Okay, so there's a couple of things about this that I want you to know. You are enough. You guys, you don't have to have your sales director talking to people. You don't have to have them watch a fancy video. You don't even have to get them to the event tonight. You don't. You are enough. You see, they don't care about what the fancy person at the front of the room or on the video is saying. They want to listen to you. And when I came home from that career conference, you guys, this was how I talked to them. I said, you know what, you guys, this is for real. This is for real. There are women just like us who are earning free cars and money in Mary Kay, and you should do it too. And so you guys, I didn't even do a 3-way call with my sales director. I just reached out to those 4 people and said, you should do it too. And every single one of them signed. And then do you know how I did inventory? I told them, I did a 2,400, you should too. That's what I said. I did a 2,400, you should too. That was my inventory conversation. And of those 4 people, you guys, 3 of them did 2,400s in 3 different ways. And guess what? I didn't have to figure it out for them. One of them had the money in their savings. One of them borrowed from the bank, and one of them borrowed from their family member. Okay, that's how they did it. I didn't know how they were going to get money. I just said, I think that you need to have inventory, so this is what you should do. And you guys, the 4th person was my best customer. Now, you guys, it's not any of you on here, I'm sure, but it is some of your people that aren't on here that are afraid to recruit your best customers. Because we think to ourselves, right, 50% versus 4 to 8% or even 13%, 50% is a better commission. But you guys, your best customers make your best team members because they love the product. And so you guys, I was afraid to ask my best customer because she was a physical therapist. She was highly educated. She had a great job, or so I thought. And I thought to myself, why would she want to sell lipsticks? You guys, when I came home and asked her to hear about Mary Kay, she said yes, like that. And she said, Heidi, I've been waiting for you to ask me. You guys, who has been waiting for you to ask them? Who's been waiting for you to ask them? You see, even back in 1997, she had over $100,000 in student loans, and she was working at the VA to pay them off, and it was a very negative environment. And so little did I know that she was waiting for me to ask her this so that she could have something part-time to help pay off her student loans. And when I told her that I came in with the 2,400, she should too. You know what she said to me? She said, Heidi, I'm going to come in with a 3,000 because you know nothing about makeup. Isn't that interesting? She was my best customer. She knew way more about glamour than I did. And so she came in with a 3,000 instead of a 2,400. And so you guys, I'm going to give you these numbers and I want you to write them down because I think they're just profound. In 8 months, my director signed 3 people for me. Okay, so we got that number down. In 10 days, I signed 4 people by myself. And if you add up that production, they came in with $10,800 worth of inventory in 10 days. There are literally 10 days left in the month from today. You guys, you are enough. You could be over halfway done with your car by you reaching out to the people in your life and saying, this is for real. You should do it with me. My 9% love check, I'm going to give you what my love check was. My highest commission check up to that time, you guys, had been $7. $7. Okay. My commission check on this next month was $918. It went from 7 to 918. And that was only a 9% check because I only had 4 people ordering, right? To get a 13% check, you needed 5 people ordering. And my director told me that, you guys. She said, Heidi, if you get 1 more of your team members to order, you get a 13% check. But you guys, I didn't care. I'm like, I don't care. It's over $900. I don't need 1,100. I just need 900. See, even smart people who become national sales directors don't listen to their sales directors at times. Okay. So listen to your sales director. Do you know what that commission check would be today with the $50 bonuses that you get on your personal qualifieds? And if you were smarter than I was and you did it and you had 5 people place orders, you guys, your paycheck would be $1,500, $1,526. $1,526 would be deposited into your account between now and October 15th. I want you to type in the chat, what would you do if you had a paycheck of $1,500 from your recruits deposited into your account between now and October 15th? Let's see what you guys would do with an extra $1,500. Pay off a credit card. Absolutely. Pay off debt. $1,500, you guys, towards the debt is a big deal. Anybody else? What else would you do? Take my husband on a weekend trip. How exciting would he be if you're like, honey, I got this. We're going, we're not taking the kids, we're going off together. Anybody else? What would you do with $1,500? Hand my hubby the cash, just the cash, right? Just get it in $100 bills. Oh, get my walls unpapered and painted. I love it. I love it. I love it. I'm still going back to the cash with my husband. I could just picture this, you guys. You want to get on your sexiest little outfit, okay? And you want to come into the room and you want to go having cash the money out. And you just want to come in and just start throwing money on the bed, okay? $100 bills, $100 bills. There's nothing sexier than that, guys. Cash on a bed. And then I promise you, next time you go to a party or you're going to your bedroom and you're holding yourself up and you're doing a Zoom party or a Facebook Live and he's sad you're gone, he won't be sad. He'll be like, oh, honey, you go hold that party. You go hold that party. I'll be waiting for you afterwards. Okay, someone once told me, because my husband was not super supportive when I started, and someone told me, she said, Heidi, what speaks to men is money and metal. Money and metal. You guys, when you are driving a free car that you have earned with Mary Kay, that speaks volumes. It speaks volumes to your husband and to your family. So money and metal are the language. Okay, so you guys, I want to tell you something. When I came home from that career conference, I was on target for my car, right? But in my little girl brain, I still couldn't believe that Heidi Goelzer could earn the use of a free car. And so at the star consultant level, where it was $4,800, 4,800 points, the Pearl Star, there was a Barbie car that my little 2-year-old could drive. And my sales director said, Heidi, do you want to earn the use of your own free car? And I said, oh, I can't do that, but I can earn that Barbie car for my little girl. And so you guys, I took it off of the Star Consultant poster. You can print it off. I put it up on my wall. And every time I sold an ordered product and every time I had a new consultant who came in with a 600, I put it up toward that Barbie car, toward the 4,800. And you guys know what? Is that I earned that Barbie car at the same time of earning my first real car with Mary Kay. And God is so cool, because the UPS man delivered that Barbie car on the exact same day that I picked up my first red Grand Am, which was the car back then, from the dealership. And my little girl and I, my husband is a pastor, we drove around the parking lot of our church, me and my Grand Am, and her little pink Barbie car, honking at each other, going in circles. Okay, so you guys, that is what you can do in the next 10 days. If this little girl, this 27-year-old from Louisiana who had never recruited someone by herself in her life can do it, you can do it too. You can do it too. But what I discovered, you guys, is that that was one thing to go on target for my car, but now I needed to finish it. And so what do you think the most important thing is when you have a big goal? What is the most important thing to have on your books when you have a big goal? Anybody have a guess on that? Parties, bookings, yes, seeing the faces, right, you guys? Okay, so I came home from that career conference and I was excited and I recruited 4 people, but I didn't have any bookings. And I'm like, oh, I have to tell you this. I'm kind of like, oh, crap. Like, I just recruited everyone that I wanted to recruit. Now, how am I going to get the rest of the people and finish earning the use of this car, this Barbie car? Okay, so this is what I want to tell you guys about bookings. There are 4 things that I want you to know about bookings this afternoon. They're most, I think, that I've learned in my Mary Kay business. Number 1, what I would suggest that you do is, I know that people have all different kinds of communication. And if you ask most people, what is their favorite form of communication? What would they say it is? Go ahead and type it in the chat. What do you think people would say is their favorite way of being communicated with? Mary said texting, right? If you would ask someone, they would say texting. Do you think it's the most efficient? Do you think it's the best way to book someone? Yeah, you're shaking your heads no, and I agree with you. Why is it not probably the best way to book someone? And you can unmute. I absolutely am fine with you guys unmuting if anybody wants to talk with me.
Thank you. I couldn't get my chat up. Honestly, if you text, they could answer it tomorrow or next week. But if you call them and talk to them, they've got to talk to you right now.
Yeah, there's so many reasons, like you said, Carla, and everything that everybody put into the chat as well. And you guys, your voice carries emotion. Okay, your voice carries emotion, where a text does not carry emotion and it does not carry excitement. People will book with you because you're excited and because they can hear it in your voice. And so here's the deal. When we're not getting where we want to go and we're not getting the bookings that we want to get, I want you to look at 4 things, okay? But this does go in a certain kind of order. Number one, are you asking enough people with your voice? Number 1, are you asking enough people with your voice? Now, I'm not saying it's the only way you communicate, but I'm saying it's part of how you communicate. And so I will call a person or I will use a voice text, because people will listen to a voice text better than they will listen to a voice message. Do y'all know that? Especially, so I know that not everyone can get voice text, but if they have an Apple phone, they can. So I will call someone. If they don't pick up, I don't leave a voicemail, I leave a voice text. If they have an Android and I can't voice text them, I do leave a voicemail, but then I leave a text message that said, I left you a very fun voicemail, please check it. Okay. All right. So here's the deal, you guys. Are you asking at least 10 people a day for a booking? Are you asking at least 10 people a day for a booking with your voice followed up by a text? Even if you want to use Facebook Messenger, you can message with your voice. Okay. You can message with your voice, but just use your voice somehow, some way, because it carries way more energy. The other thing that I want you to ask yourself is, most people will book after the 5th contact. You guys all understand that? Like, no, it's just a sales number. Only 5% of people will book after the 1st contact. And most salespeople quit after the 1st contact. 85% of people book after the 5th contact, you guys, the 5th contact. We just don't know what to say. And your sales directors have that for you, you guys, so that you don't sound like a stalker. So when you're not getting enough bookings, the first thing that you want to do is, number 1, am I asking enough people? Number 1, check your numbers. Check your numbers. Okay. Number 2, if your numbers are great, if you are asking enough people, if you're asking 10 people a day with your voice, followed up by a text message, and you're not getting bookings, number 2, check your target market. Okay, so I'm going to tell you what I believe is a good target market. There are 5 things that we're looking for a target market. Number 1, are they between the ages of 25 and 60? And this is for bookings, okay? You guys, there's always exceptions to the rule, but we want to play with the rule, not with the exceptions. And so you want to really be booking women between the ages of 25 to 60, okay? They have jobs, they have more stability, okay, things like that. Number 2, do they have some form of higher education? They don't have to have a 4 or more year college degree, but have they done something besides high school? Even if it's cosmetology school, even if it's the military, there's something just beyond a high school diploma, because that is just going to show responsibility and going for something more, okay? Number 3, are they married or have been married? That shows commitment. Are they married or have been married? Number 4, do they have kids? They have a reason, okay? They have a reason. And number 5, do they own their own home? Okay, I'm going to say this again. Number 1, they're between the ages of 25 to 60. This is for booking or recruiting. Number 2, do they have some form of higher education? Number 3, are they married or have been married? Number 4, do they have kids? And number 5, do they own their own home? Now, if they have 3 out of the 5 of these, that's the best. If they have less than 3 out of 5, you guys, it's not the best target market. Okay? And you're going to be doing a lot of work for less results. Does this make sense? So if you're doing the right numbers, but you're not getting bookings, the second thing you want to check is target market. Or if you're getting bookings, but they don't all hold, or like less than half of them hold, check your target market. What I find is people with less self-confidence will say yes and then not get back with you. Okay? People with more self-confidence, you're either going to get a yes or a no, but it's more of a solid answer. Okay, so number 1, if you're asking enough people and doing the follow-up. Number 2, if the target market is great and you're still not getting bookings. Number 3, check your skill level. Check the words that you're saying and book your sales director. Be willing to book your sales director. Okay? Numbers, target market, your skill level. And number 4, if all of those are right and your sales director is like, wow, no girl, you got it. You can book me. I don't know what the problem is. Number 4, check your attitude. Number 4, check your attitude. A lot of times we ask ourselves what's wrong with us first. That's the first question we ask ourselves, when really it's numbers 1, 2, or 3 first. You guys, there's nothing wrong with you. Okay. It's just you're not talking to enough people, or your target market isn't right, or you need to just fix your script by a little bit. But so often we're like, oh my gosh, I'm such a loser. Everybody's saying no to me. No, that's not where you start. Okay. But if you go through those first 3 and you're like, why am I still not booking? It might be because of your belief level. It might be because you're going into it not expecting a booking. It might be something like that. Mary Kay said, you can do everything right with the wrong attitude and succeed. Nope, she did not say that. She said you can do everything right with the wrong attitude and fail, but you can do everything wrong with the right attitude and succeed. Right, you guys? All right, so just be happy. Just be happy. All right, so that's what you want to look at for bookings. You want to check those numbers. All right, the other thing, you guys, is with career chats. Okay, so you want to look at your target market like I just talked about. And you want to look at your numbers, but there's 3 other things that you want to think about when you're career chatting someone. Number 1, do they already like the product, or are they open to trying it? Okay, I had 4 career chats with some of my unit members on Saturday. And I'll tell you what, the career chats with the people who were already on the product were way easier than the ones who had not tried the product yet. Okay, you guys, a woman will have a very hard time selling something that she doesn't already love. And so her questions, if you're having a career conversation with her, her questions will all be about the product. And that's just not where you can even get to talk about the opportunity, because she needs to know all about the product. So number 1, do they like the product, or are they open to trying it? Okay, so I actually got, by the grace of God, I have a guest coming tonight to the guest event. I'm so excited. I met her this Sunday with my sister Carrie, and I haven't been able to facial her yet, but she wants to know about the product. So we're bringing her samples, and she said she can come tonight. So she's not on the product, but she's open to trying it. Okay, the second thing you're looking for when you're doing a career chat is, do they have $30 to $130, or could they get it? Do they have $30 to $130, or could they get it? Okay, and we already talked about the difference between broke and poor. The Mary Kay Foundation, you guys, is here for people who need help. The Mary Kay Opportunity is for women who are willing to help themselves. And here's the third one, you guys. Here's the third one. Are you willing to spend the night in a hotel room with her? Okay, if you don't want to hang out with her and maybe be her roommate at seminar when we get back to having seminar in person, you don't have to recruit her. Okay, you don't. Mary Kay would say this. She thought that everybody should be our customers, but not everybody needs to be consultants. Mary Kay herself said that, you guys. And so it is okay not to try to recruit everybody in the universe if you don't really like them. Okay, I'm giving you that permission. All right. And I did talk about this with the sales directors. This is an old-fashioned thing for recruiting. We would take a deck of cards, and I meant to ask Susan to give me a deck of cards so I could have a visual, but we got to talking and all of a sudden it was time to be on here. So you guys, 1 in 4 people that we talk to who have these attributes that we talked about, they like the product, they have the means to get the starter kit, and you would spend the night in a hotel room with them. 1 in 4 people will join. 1 in 4 people will join. And so if you take a deck of 52 cards, right, and 1 in 4 say yes, that means 40 people are going to say no and 12 are going to say yes. But just like when you're dealing out a deck of cards, you don't go, number, face card, number, face card, right? It can be totally random. See, a deck of cards is like that with your career chats. So you guys, I have a challenge for you. I want you to get a deck of cards and start keeping track of your career chats. When they say no, they're a number card. When they say yes, they're a face card. And start tracking it. It's going to be fun what you're going to see, because some of you are going to have a guest tonight and she's going to be a face card. She's going to sign. And some of you are going to have a guest tonight and she is not going to sign. And it is going to take you talking to 7 more people until a face card comes up. But it's going to average out. In a deck of 52 cards, you're going to get 40 no's and 12 yeses. But you don't know how it's going to play out. It's a game. It's a game, but you got to be willing to play the game. And we were talking about reading a book. Oh, Susan, is it here? It's here. It's Go for No. It's this book, Go for No. If you haven't read it, you need to get it. Okay, either on your Kindle or wherever you're going to get a book. Go for No. This little book, look how little it is. Seriously, it's like a children's book for grown-ups. It's 73 pages long. The chapters are only 3 pages a piece. If you hate to read, you can still read this book. You will be fine with it. But what it talks about, you guys, is being willing to get the no's, being willing to get the no's. In fact, not just being willing to get the no's, like pursuing the no's. So after our conversation this morning with the sales directors, do you know what $1 million future executive senior sales director Susan McCoy did? She got a piece of paper and she wrote down 1 through 40 on it, because she's going to go get 40 no's. It's right there. She's going to go get 40 no's. And you guys, you don't stop. When you get 6 yeses, if you still haven't gotten 40 no's yet, you keep going, because the goal is not 6 yeses, it's 40 no's. And pretty soon you're actually going to get annoyed with yourself for getting a yes. You're like, oh, I need a no. Come on, people, I need a no. Who could get excited about running your business that way? Like you're going like, oh, seriously, I got another yes. I cannot stop until I get to 40 no's. What is going on? You guys, that's how you want this to be. And so how I finished my car is this. I had no self-confidence, so I needed gimmicks. It's okay, guys, if you sometimes have to use a gimmick until your self-confidence grows. And so what I told them was this: I'm earning the use of my first free car, Mary Kay. Nope, I'm sure I did not say it so good as that. I said, I'm winning a car in Mary Kay. I was not legally correct or anything. I just said, I'm winning my first car in Mary Kay. And you know what? I need to talk to 52 people and I need 40 people to tell me no. Will you just listen to me? And you can totally be one of my 40 who tell me no. Isn't that horrible? Like, I was just like, you can tell me no, just tell me no. And they're laughing and they're like, well, yeah, I listen to you because I'll totally tell you no. But of those 52 people I talked to, you guys, guess what? 12 told me yes. And I finished earning the use of my car. Okay, so if you guys want to earn the use of your first car, go ahead and get those deck of 52 cards out, okay? and tag me on Facebook, message me, show me that you've done it. And I'm going to challenge you to go ahead and get those 40 no's to get the 12 yeses. And you guys, you know why that makes me excited? It's because I have a very tender heart. And what is the one thing that I don't like about Mary Kay is people telling me no. Isn't that interesting? I'm telling you to go for the no's. I'm telling you that's what I did to earn the use of my first car. And yet a no would hurt me so profoundly. But someone once said this, and I've stuck with it for all my entire career. People will disappoint you. Numbers never will. People will disappoint you. Numbers never will. And so in order to guard my heart, I had to learn to play the numbers, because otherwise, you guys, my heart would be broken way too often. So people will disappoint me. Numbers never will. Okay. And another silly mantra that helped me, you guys, build my business is a booking a day keeps the blues away. A booking a day keeps the blues away. A career chat a day keeps the panic away. If I'm going for big goals, you guys, I would do a career chat a day. In fact, I still do that now to this day, because I know that that's what's going to keep me on track. But here's the deal. There is a magic number. I talked to the sales directors this morning about a magic number for sales directors. The magic number for consultants is 10. You guys, 10 bookings on your books is a magic number. It's a magic number. But what I want to tell you is it's easier to keep 10 bookings than to get 10 bookings. And so my goal as a consultant would always be to have 10 bookings up on my books for the next 2 weeks. I knew that half of them would hold, you guys. If you have 10 bookings up for 2 weeks, you're going to have 5 of them hold, which is an average of 2.5 parties per week. Every single one of us can hold 2.5 parties per week. But do you know what that will do for your business if you hold 2.5 parties per week? It will just grow it exponentially. And so I'd always have 10 bookings up on my books. But you guys, I would get to 10, but then I would be a bulldog about keeping the 10. See, it's much easier to keep the 10 than to get the 10. So when I would have a cancellation, I would just get one more booking. That one more would keep me to 10. You guys, what makes us sad is when we get so many and then we hold them and we don't book from appointment to appointment, or they cancel on us and we're back to the 0. So first, get to 10. Like today is, I don't know what today is. Today is Tuesday. Set a deadline for yourself, right? In fact, type it in the chat. When do you want to have 10 bookings by? What is your goal? I don't care how many bookings you have today. When do you want to have 10 bookings up on your books? So type it in the chat. When do you want to have 10 bookings up on your books? Anyone going to be brave? Okay, Esther says she's going to have 10 up by Thursday. All right, good. Anybody else? Thursday. Oh, I love this. Today's Tuesday. Get 10 by Thursday, you guys. Now, here's the deal. If you don't want to type it in the chat, that's totally cool. You don't know me. I want you to text it to your sales director. Okay. I want you to text it to your sales director that when are you going to have 10 bookings up on your books by? Okay. It's your choice when you want to have those 10. But then I'm going to challenge you guys to keep 10, because you are powerful when you always have 10 bookings on your books. And so how I want to close up our time together is I love to tell you stories, because I can give you all the, all of the trainings on how to get the bookings and who you're supposed to recruit and the 52 cards and all that kind of stuff. But you guys, when your passion and purpose are greater than your fears and excuses, you will find a way. You see, for the first 8 months of my business, my fears and excuses were greater than my passion and my purpose. But when I went to that career conference and I saw those women doing what they were doing, I thought to myself, you know what? If they can, I can. And I didn't have a clear vision of what that was going to be. I didn't really understand how to earn a car. I didn't really understand how to become a sales director, but I knew they had something that I wanted. And so remember, it wasn't a noble goal. It was to earn a pink Barbie car for my daughter. My friends, whatever goal you choose to have, I'm going to ask you to set a goal for something by the end of this month. Is it to have 3 new team members? Is it to be a team leader? Is it to go into DIQ? Is it to go on target for your car? You all have different thoughts and you're all in different places, but I want you to set a goal with a deadline, because a goal with a deadline changes lives. Remember, I told you that the person who brought me into Mary Kay, Ann DeNoyer, was in DIQ. You see, her goal with the deadline of becoming a sales director changed my life forever. When I went to that career conference and I came home all excited to earn that Barbie car for my daughter, I reached out to 4 women. You guys, of those 4 women that signed when I was earning a Barbie car for my daughter, not a noble goal, 3 of those 4 women went on to become sales directors in Mary Kay. I recruited them as a red jacket. I wasn't fancy. I wasn't awesome. They became, but you guys, my goal with the deadline changed lives. And you know my little girl, Karis, who drove her Barbie car in the same parking lot as I drove my new Mary Kay car? She is now 27 years old, and she's a sales director living in Portland, Oregon. She graduated from college, but before she did that, you guys, at the age of 18, she signed her Mary Kay agreement because she wanted the kind of lifestyle that she had grown up with since she was 2 years old. The age of 19, as a sophomore in college, she became a sales director. And as a senior in college, she earned her 2nd free car in Mary Kay. Her first one was the Barbie car. Her 2nd one was her Malibu that she earned as a senior in college. When she graduated from college, she decided to work Mary Kay full-time. She has never, ever in her life, not even as a teenager, worked for somebody else, you guys. She's always worked in the Mary Kay world and as a consultant and as a sales director. She has now earned the use of her 5th free car in Mary Kay and is on target to earn her Cadillac while being a work-from-home mom with a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old. Those other people that I recruited from that event, I'm just going to tell you about one of them. My sister, Shelly. See, my sister, Shelly, when I recruited her, was a teacher. She was a preschool director, and she was engaged to be married. I recruited her the end of March, the beginning of April. She was getting married later on that summer. Little did we know, you guys, that she was going to marry someone who was a narcissist and who for 17 years would abuse her emotionally, spiritually, and then physically. But she was in Mary Kay all of that time. You see, we didn't know that her Mary Kay friends were the ones that were going to be there for her when she finally decided to leave him. We didn't know that her Mary Kay friends were going to be the ones who would furnish an apartment for her after she left him when she had no money on her own. We didn't know that her Mary Kay friends were the ones that were going to go to her court appearances with her because he had taken her across the country to live far away from the rest of her family. We didn't know that her Mary Kay family were the ones that were going to help her pay her rent and put food on her table. But God did. But God did. As I was earning the use of my Barbie car, she was part of that. And 17 years later, God used this opportunity to save her from an abusive man and to give her and her 2 girls a chance at a second life without him. We also didn't know that my Mary Kay money that I earned by being a top director and a national sales director would pay the tens of thousands of dollars that it would take to hire the lawyer that we needed to get her full custody. We didn't know that, but God knew that. And you know that person, Ann DeNoyer, who was in DIQ when she recruited me? She didn't know that she was going to recruit a national sales director. She didn't know, but God knew. And so you guys, 10 years after Ann recruited me, she was a director in Mary Kay, and I was a top director. And I'm so grateful for her friendship and her egoless leadership. EGO, egoless. You see, my director never earned a Cadillac, and she never earned a top director trip, but she believed in me, and she encouraged me to go be my best, even when I surpassed her on the career path. And 10 years after recruiting me, she no longer, you're going to hear this story tonight. When she recruited me, she had 4 kids under the age of 5 and 1 on the way. So she had 5 small children. 10 years after she recruited me, she no longer had 5 small children. She had 5 teenagers. And at that point in her life, her husband, who was a pastor, cheated on her, and she was going through a horribly public, ugly divorce. She could not work her Mary Kay business because she had so much on her plate. And yet, because she had recruited me 10 years earlier, the money that she was making from me as her personal recruit and offspring sales director was paying her rent every month as a single mom so that she could take care of her family when she needed to. A goal with a deadline changes lives. Her goal with the deadline of becoming a DIQ changed my life and my family's life forever, but it also changed her life. And a few years ago, you see, my friend Anne, who recruited me into Mary Kay, we've never ever lived in the same town. We've never ever been to each other's sales director meetings. We would only see each other at seminar and at leadership. 4 years ago, the church that she has belonged to for 25 years in Deltona, Florida, called my husband and asked him to be the pastor of their church. My recruiter is no longer a sales director, but she's an elite team leader in Mary Kay. I'm still on her team. She still makes a commission check from everything I sell and order. And she is now my son's 6th grade teacher. The woman who changed my life is to change my son's life every single day. A goal with a deadline changes lives. My friend, if you heard nothing from me today except for this, you are enough. You are enough. You don't have to wait for your sales director. You don't have to have a fancy new video. You don't have to have a guest event. Your story, your passion, your belief in this company and the opportunity is enough. And what I want to remind you of is it is not your Mary Kay opportunity. It is not my opportunity. It is the Mary Kay opportunity. So even if you don't feel qualified to recruit someone, even if you don't feel like you've made enough money yet, it doesn't matter, you guys, because you can recruit someone who can take it as far as they can see it. Remember, the person who brought me into Mary Kay was a DIQ. She wasn't a top director. She wasn't a national sales director. When I recruited those 4 people, I was barely a red jacket, and yet 3 of them became sales directors. Thank God none of us waited to be better to recruit somebody. So you are enough. You will figure it out. And it is double credit month, you guys. It is double credit month. And remember, your passion doesn't have to be noble, okay? It can just be to have 6 new team members because you want to max out what Mary Kay has given you. It can simply be that. And I promise you that when you max it out with those 6 new team members, there will be somebody in there whose life will be changed because you had a goal with a deadline. When your passion and your purpose are greater than your fears and excuses, you will find a way. There are 10 days left in this month. There are 10 days left, my friends. How will you win? How will your goal with a deadline change lives? And whose dreams are tied to your success? I believe in you. I'm so proud of you. Thank you for taking an hour out of your afternoon to spend it with me. I'm honored and privileged, and I pray that something I said made a difference to you today.
Oh, Heidi. Oh, hang on. My iPad's getting ready to die.
Oh no.
I've got my phone connected. That's the problem. Hold on. Okay. Let me just get out of this. Okay. Heidi, that was absolutely amazing. Thank you so much for pouring into us. We have time for about 2 or 3 people. If anybody has a question or if you'd like to affirm something that Heidi shared, we would love to have you do so now. Just be sure to unmute.
Heidi, thank you so much. I have never had the opportunity to hear you speak before, and you really shared some things that I haven't heard, especially in considering like why are we not getting bookings, and some good touch points to look at besides just how many people you're seeing. I love that, and I love how you share your heart in general and pouring into your stories, and that you allow your emotions through the stories, because it makes such a difference. Not just to me, but to everybody. And it's so cool to know all of the ways. We don't always get to see all the ways that what our work does and how it changes lives. But when you share those things and you can see how many different touch points, just a few that you can even talk about, have changed your life in that way, how much more it's changing other people's lives too. And it's incredible, and I love it. Thank you.
Thank you, Esther, and congratulations for being here. Seriously,
Thank
so
you.
proud of you.
Hi, Heidi.
Oh, I think
Can you
someone
hear me?
else- Oh, there you go, Carrie. Yeah.
Okay, sorry. So one of the things that you were talking about, I'm at work, so I had to take my other headphone out for a second. One of the things you were talking about was you had said a booking a day keeps the blues away. What did you say for the career chat?
A career chat a day keeps the panic away.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Carrie.
I have to say, I really do affirm the looking at your best customers or the best bookings, because you keep hearing all these, rags to riches tells, and you thought, oh, she'd so benefit. But yeah, when some of these people are poor because they have no desire to get out of being poor, that's no longer your issue, and yeah, try to look above that. Because my story is I was a pharmacist. I'm a pharmacist. I was using Mary Kay for 20 years before anybody ever offered me the opportunity. And because they were too afraid that I would say no.
Yeah.
No. Yeah. And so, yeah, look higher than your person who's on food stamps.
You know what?
And
Thank you for sharing that,
I offered
Carla.
everybody, but yeah.
No, thank you for sharing that. And I'm sure people are like, you're a pharmacist. Why would you want to sell Mary Kay? We have these preconceived notions, and we just have to remember, offer it to everybody, especially our best customers, because they will make our best consultants.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Carla.
Anybody else want to share anything before we wrap up? All right. Well, Heidi, I just want to say thank you again for taking this precious day out of your life. And I'm so grateful that you got to tie it into a little bit of family trip, getting to see your mom and dad and your sister and their family while you were here. We cannot wait for tonight in Kansas City to pack the house. Ladies, if you are coming tonight, please be sure it is not too late to find a guest. I mean, Heidi met someone while she was here this trip who's coming with her tonight. So it is not too late to reach out. And sometimes it's even better. Like you've got all this excitement, energy, and you're going for the 40 no's, right? So why not ask away and get some people lined up for this evening? So we can't wait to see you. Doors open at 6:30, and we will see you this evening. Thank you so much for taking your time, you guys, to plug into the excellence of Heidi's training today. And we will have this on a recording if you'd like to gather it. We'll get it to you in a little bit. Okay. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you later.
Bye, everybody.